Hey everybody, it's Dr. V. Welcome back to my channel. I've already pre-shuffled and I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into the reading. So this is for those of you that are in no communication with your lover, with your counterpart, with your love interest, twin flame, soulmate, sacred sidekick, whatever term you use. This is a reading that you just haven't heard from each other, haven't heard from them for a while. Maybe you've reached out and they're not responding. Maybe, things just ended and there wasn't any really closure or any kind of finishing up of the situation. You just feel like it's kind of lingering. And so you're wondering what's going on? Like, what happened? Why did they just, run away and cut contact? Like, what the hell's going on? So let's just go ahead and look at the overall. First, we'll just start with their current energy. Like, what is going on in their world right now? And this is the Mythical Goddess Tarot by Sage Holloway and Catherine Skaggs. So what's going on in their world right now? First, we have the Earth card, okay? So we've got success. This is Earth, Six of Earth, Six of Pentacles. This is success, okay? There's something is happening in their physical world that has been a success. They may have gotten a job promotion. They may have gotten some kind of new opportunity. Something has happened that is, really helping them to feel a little more confident, a little more comfortable with what they're doing. They may have had a windfall, an unexpected inheritance, or won the lotto or something. There's some kind of material, something has happened, something has come in, has gifted them that they feel has been a success. This can be, like I said, it could be literally like a financial windfall, inheritance. Somebody gave them some money unexpectedly, could have got a promotion. Maybe they had something good, an opportunity that came to pass that they weren't expecting. And so they're feeling pretty solid in that sense. Now we have the Illusion card, which is interesting because if you look at this card, this character is holding an umbrella. They've got like a rain hat, raincoat, boots, and they're really prepared for a massive storm. And then there's this little tiny rain cloud. So what this is saying is that this is the energy that mountains out of molehills. This is somebody who expects the worst. This is somebody who may be a little bit pessimistic. So right now what I'm getting is that your counterpart, the person that you're listening to this message with, and you have them in mind, they are in a state of still seeing things through a negative light. They might be having the energy of coming at things like expecting the worst all the time. So even if you've not been in communication with them, maybe you think back to previous conversations and they're like, they would say things and you'd be like, oh, that sounds kind of negative, or they'd be like, oh, I have the worst luck, right? So even in the face of this success that they've had, they're still feeling like something, like the preparing for the worst. Excuse me. My kids always say I sneeze like a mouse. They really just in this space of seeing things kind of negatively and pessimistically and not really seeing the bright side of things. That's part of why they stay stuck too, is that they're in that, illusion space, not seeing things accurately. However, they're in the process of bringing something new. This birth energy, it's really about bringing something new into the world. So they're in the process of birthing something. This could be a new way of seeing the world. This could be that they're working on a project, like, writing a book, or maybe they're doing something new. But they are in the process of bringing something forward. However, it's slow. If anybody has ever given birth, you know that it takes a while, okay? It's like you don't just have a baby. You don't just like get pregnant and have a baby, although that would be nice, right? If it was that easy, but it's not. It takes 40 weeks for a baby to grow from conception to delivery. It's 40 weeks. That's like almost a whole freaking year. It takes time and it's slow. It doesn't happen as quickly as you would probably like, but they are bringing something new. They are bringing something forward. It's just slow. That energy came through earlier this week too, where it was like, in the karmic situation, there was a slow speed. And so this is not saying that the person that you're listening to has a karmic situation. It's just that the energy right now is just really slow overall. So what is the cause? Like, why did they leave? You know, why did they bail on this situation? Like, you know, maybe things were going okay, maybe things were intense, but they bailed, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Why did they go? Maybe they left and you didn't have any closure. You're feeling like unfinished business. You're feeling unsettled by what happened. So let's find out what's the cause. Like, what happened? So, yep, that doesn't surprise me at all. Wow. Lilith is one of my favorite cards. Okay, so this card, fruition. There were some things that needed to come to fruition. There were some things that it wasn't ready yet, is what I'm getting. Is that what was the cause? Is that it wasn't ready. It wasn't time at that point to come together. There was other things that needed to happen. There were other things that needed to come to pass. I'm getting really clearly that this card came up, not this card in this reading because I used a different deck, but earlier this week there was a message around reaping what you sow. Okay, so part of what happened, part of the reason why they bailed, why they took off, was because there were some things that needed to come to fruition, things that seeds that they'd sowed in the past that they needed to reap that harvest, and they needed to deal with what that, you know, with the consequences of those decisions, those choices. That was what needed to happen. So that's part of why they bailed, was that, you know, first of all, it just wasn't time for the two of you to come together. There were things that needed to happen. There was growth. There was transformation. I've said this before, but I'll say it again because it's important that, you know, being in separation is a time to grow. It's a time to do your work. It's a time to heal. It's a time to look at your patterns, any kind of codependence, any kind of limiting beliefs. That's your time to heal, right? It's very difficult to be in such a high level connection and to be in that kind of energy where you're where you're triggering each other, and that it's very difficult to heal in that kind of environment. Sometimes you need to have some space. You need to be able to take some space to breathe, to be able to heal those things that come up. So if you've been doing your work, good for you, because that means that you're closer and closer to coming into at least, you know, inner union, which is the first thing. You know, the reality is that if all you're thinking about is coming to union, what do I need to do to come into union with my masculine? Then your motives are wrong, and that's still, you're still in that kind of codependent energy. Your focus really needs to be on healing yourself and doing your own work, and then as a byproduct of that, of you being whole, then you're able to magnetize your connection back to you, if that's what's meant to happen. But it's not something that you can be chasing. If you're really still chasing that connection and coming back together, then it's definitely you know, that's pointing to some areas of need a little bit more attention. So the long and short of it is that there were some things that needed to happen. There were some things that needed to come to fruition. There were some things that they hadn't finished, okay? So there were things that they brought in from the past that they hadn't finished yet, and they needed to finish it. You cannot have a high level, you know, soul level, high vibrational connection with someone who's carrying a bunch of baggage from the past, okay? They need to take a lesson from Erykah Badu and drop those bags. So, and so do you, if that resonates for you. The other reason why they ran, and I love this because Lilith is one of my favorite goddesses in the entire body of goddesses. She is a total fucking badass, okay? It's funny to me because she's also depicted as a demon in a lot of the mythology. Like, she is depicted as a, kind of a fallen woman, and you know, that she's a demonic, evil. And that's due to patriarchy. That's because she was in her power. She knew who the hell she was. She knew that she was like, she knew that what her power was and what her capability was, and she just refused to submit to someone that she saw as her equal. She was the original counterpart to Adam in the Garden of Eden. And Adam, she was created at the same time, and Adam wanted her to be subservient. He wanted her to be beneath him, and she was like, no, we were created equally. I'm not going to be subservient to you. And that's what he wanted. And she was like, cool, that's not for me. So she tricked God into giving her wings, and she flew out of Eden and she went and lived her life on her own terms. And then Adam got Eve, who was fashioned from his rib, and so on and so forth. So part of the reason why your counterpart fled from you, why they ran, was your power was too much for them to handle. You were too big, bigger than life. The energy that was created between the two of you was so powerful. It was so intense. Like I'm like feeling it right now. I can feel the all of that energy. That it was just, you know, transformative. It's life changing. It's transcendent. It's all of these things, right? And it shines a light on you in all of the dark places, all of the unhealed spaces, right? And so if someone's not ready for that kind of power, they're going to run from it, right? And that's what happened. It's like your power was so intense that they ran. It was too much to handle. It was like they wanted something a little more manageable. They wanted somebody maybe who would be subservient. They wanted somebody who was a little bit easier to manage. This Lilith energy, and this can be with masculines or feminines. It doesn't have to be just for, you know, it's not just for women or feminines. This powerful energy is fucking magnetic, y'all. It's like magnetic. I can tell you this beyond a shadow of a doubt, that when I'm in my power, when I'm really consciously in my power, it's like just it's like, you know, when you put like a shavings over here and a magnet over here, and it just like runs to it. That's the energy. That's what it's like to be in your power. You're just magnetic. You pull things to you without any effort. It just happens. And if they weren't in their own power, people who are not in their own power tend to be drawn like, you know, they're like, what is that saying? Like white on rice to that power. But it also can be repellent to people who aren't in that space, because it feels too much. And that's why they ran. Your power was too much. The final thing is that like the underlying cause is because there were some things that needed to be completed. That is like the message just keeps coming through. There were cycles that needed to be completed. There was unfinished business from the past that needed to be cleared out before they could come back to you. It's not clear whether or not they've done their work at this point, but that's part of it, is that there was like their higher self knew that they needed to complete some things. They needed to clean up their side of the street. There were cycles that you needed to complete. I mentioned this earlier this week, but doing things like clearing out, you know, your energy field, releasing any X energy, clearing out if you have like love letters from former lovers, like getting rid of that shit, because it's like, you don't need to keep that. I understand that there's like a certain sentimental attachment to it, but whenever we're holding on to things from the past, we're blocking ourselves from being able to move into the future. So it's really important to bring cycles to an end, to complete those cycles and allow ourselves to have the freedom to move forward. So that's part of the reason why, is that there were some cycles and energies that needed to be completed. So what's currently holding them back? So we've got Kuan Yin. Oh, Madame Pele, my favorite. And desire. So the first thing is this Kuan Yin, this nurturing energy. What's holding him back is they want that nurturing energy. So what I'm getting, this is an interesting message, is that it's like they want that connection. They feel that they like have this pull toward that nurturing, loving side of you. Right, that piece of you that comes in and like holds them and sees them and loves them and accepts them, that unconditional love. It's like they love that, but they're also intimidated by it. Okay, it's like they still don't believe that unconditional love is a possibility. It's like they feel like it's going to be torn away from them again at some point. They wonder if it's real. That's part of what's holding them back, is that they're wondering if this is genuinely what they felt with you, if it's real. There's still that illusion, remember? So part of what's holding them back is they still need to do some more of their own healing and nurturing. Like I said earlier, it wasn't clear if they'd done their own work, but it feels like they're in the process, but there's still more work to be done. And so they are in the space of nurturing themselves. Not a lot. I don't get a lot of that energy. I get a little bit. Like they may be taking really small steps, but they are taking some steps. But the other thing is that what's holding them back is that you were to them like Madame Pele. Now, y'all know I have an affinity to Madame Pele. I went out to Hawaii a couple years ago. I went out to where on the Big Island where the lava hits the ocean. There's this just gorgeous steams, clouds of steam that go up. And as I was walking out there, it's a long hike to get there, or walk, because it's like a road, but I could feel the energy. I mean, I could feel it coming up through the ground, through my body. And when I got out to the edge, I felt this such a sense of awe and reverence. Like I literally, if it hadn't been like on lava rock, because that would have hurt, I would have been literally like prostrate before the majesty that I was seeing. It was such a powerful energy. And so I sat there in silence and awe, just like really basking in the presence of Madame Pele, just this beautiful energy. So part of what's holding them back is that they see you in this light. Like you were a purifier. You helped to burn out some of the things in them that they didn't like, or that it's not of the divine that needed to be moved through. And so the refiner's fire, I've talked about this before, is how you purify gold, right? For people that don't know, gold is not inherently pure. It has to be, you have to clear it from the stuff that doesn't, the impurities, right? And how they do that is they put the gold into this, these giant cauldrons and heat it up really, 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 really high. And then when it's super, super hot and becomes, it's like a liquid, then they'll take the scoop and they'll take out the impurities. They'll like run it through and take out the impurities. And they do that process over and over and over again. And that's what refining the gold looks like. But when you're in that experience as a human, where the heat gets turned up, metaphorically speaking or metaphysically speaking in your life, so that those impurities can be, taken out of you, it's a painful process. And they see you in this light. They see you as being someone who is a purifier. Like you won't take any shit. You're going to come in and you're not going to put up with lower level ego behaviors. You're going to call it out when you see it, because you are powerful. You're powerful and a purifier. And so it really is this space of like, part of what's holding them back is that they're afraid of that. They're like, this is a person who won't take any shit from me whatsoever. And so if I come toward her, I have to come toward her. I'm saying her because the goddess, I don't mean her. Excuse me, let me clarify that again. They don't want to come toward you with knowing that they can't come to you with bullshit. Okay, whether you're a feminine or a masculine watching, they know that they have to step their game up. And they know that you're going to, hold them accountable, that you're going to call them on their stuff. And it's not in a judgmental way. It's just like, in a loving way. That's the thing, is that you can hold people accountable in a very loving way. But that's definitely something that they, what's holding them back is they're like, oh God, like, am I ready for that? Like, am I ready to like face my stuff again? Like, am I ready to have all that stuff come to the surface? I'm not sure. And this desire, you guys, this is actually really interesting, because part of what's holding them back is their desire. Now, does that feel like a paradox? Hell yeah. But you know what? They feel so much freaking desire towards you. Like the energy I'm getting is that like you like consumed them. Your energy was like, all consuming. They felt like, I'm not saying like they were obsessed with you or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that you were such a big presence in their life, that kind of shook them up so much, and that they felt so much desire for you that it scares them, right? It feels out of control to them. It feels like, they can't manage you. You're not somebody that they can just, you're like this lava, and that they can't put you in a container and hold you there. Like nobody puts baby in a corner, right? Like they realize that you can't be put in a corner, and that you're not going to back down, and you're not going to, that you're going to be who you are, and just as big and powerful and beautiful and amazing and divine. And the level of desire that they feel towards you, the way that you consume them, the way that you that they're pulled to you scares the shit out of them. Really, that's an interesting energy. So what would they need to communicate? A lot of emotion. That's interesting. Look at that, you guys. Courage. I love it. So what they would need to be able to communicate with you is they need to be replenished. Right now they're depleted. Their like energy is so freaking depleted. I can actually, like, I can feel it right now, like, because I'm tapping into their energy. I can feel like this is an energy of, and I think it came through again earlier this week. I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen to the reading. I don't remember what is channeled always. I remember some of it, but not always. And so I have to go back and listen. But I think this came through that they're just like exhausted. Like they're in this space of really just feeling like this is just so much. Okay, it's so much to deal with. There is like, they're putting on a show, trying to keep up with the Joneses, but living in a false mask, living a life that's not authentic, that's not true, is freaking exhausting. And they're depleted. They're completely burned the F out. And it's like, yeah, that's just the energy I'm getting. It's like they're not really, I don't get that they're really taking care of themselves. So it's like maybe not going to the gym as much as they should, not eating healthy, just really being in a depleted state. So once they can get replenished, they'll be able to come back. They'll be more willing, more able to communicate. But they also need to get back to the sense of innocence. Now, innocence is not the same as being naive, okay? This innocence is about trusting. If you look at this is a child in a conch shell. I think that's what it's called. And in the ocean, and like the waves are going around, but this child is just sleeping peacefully. And that's what they need to get into, is that space of complete and total trust and understanding that, again, what's for you is for you, and trusting in yourself, trusting in spirit, going back to that space of innocence where you're not so cynical, where you're like able to be like trust people and trust their intentions, and not feel like people have an agenda, some kind of secret thing that they're trying to do. So they really need to tap into their innocence again, into that space of trusting who they are, trusting the universe, trusting and being at peace. Okay, so if you see this, it's a progression from being depleted and these whales are all beached, and then into a space where the water is flowing again. Like their emotions are stuck right now. Emotionally, they're stagnant. That's what this is about. Seas are water. Water is emotion. Their emotions are stagnant. They're in a situation that is not fulfilling to them. So they're like in this space, like, like the Dead Sea. There's just nothing. There's no life. There's nothing going on there because of this emotional block. Okay, this emotional block that is kind of, it's like the cycle. Like I'm seeing this like it taking place in a cycle where it's like they're depleted, so their emotions are stuck, and so they don't do what they need to do, and they just kind of keep going around in the same pattern, and not realizing that if you want something new, you have to do something different that you've never done before. It's like people that are like, I want I want to do this, but I don't. So I'll use like working out for an example. I know people that are like always talking about they want to get in shape, and they for like 20 years they've been talking about the same thing, and I'm like, I'll be clients that I've worked with, and I'm like, well, why don't you hire a personal trainer? And they're like, no, I know how to do it on my I can do it. And I'm always, that the question I always ask is, if you could have done it on your own by now, wouldn't you have already? And then they look at me like I have 3 heads, and they're like, wow, I didn't think of it that way. And I'm like, yeah, that's why you have me. But my point being that they're in this cycle of doing the same thing, thinking that they're going to get a different result. Like that quote, right? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So that's part of what is happening here. And so they need to break that cycle. And I feel like they will. I feel like something is going to happen that's going to contribute to them breaking through that and recognizing that pattern. All it takes for a lot of people, and I'm getting what it will take here, is just an aha moment, some kind of like, shift in consciousness that will help to bring that, illuminate that, and be like, oh, okay, this is a pattern, this is something I need to shift. And once they get that, it's going to really lead to this like unlocking of emotions. I feel like there's going to be like a flow, maybe even outpouring of emotions that they deal with. But the other thing they freaking need is some courage. They need to get some courage. They need to be willing to face the stuff that they don't want to face. Okay, it's like having courage is not about not having fear. A lot of people think about like fearlessness, right? And I'm like, that's crazy. I'm not fearless. I have a lot of fears. I just don't let my fears control me. And that's the difference. That's what the difference between someone being, you know, fearful and courageous is, that I feel fear. I feel things, and I do it anyway, because that's just what, you know, it's just what the fuck I do. But the point being that they need to have courage. They need to step up into their courageousness and stop feeling so afraid to live their freaking lives. So let me think. What is it that they feel right now? What do they feel? Wow. Sunshine. Intention. And purity. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at that. We've got purifier and purity. That's amazing. So what they feel, you know, this is like what they're feeling towards you right now, is that they feel actually very positive. Even though they may not have communicated with you, even though you may not have had any contact with them whatsoever, you know, they are thinking about you, and the thoughts that they're having towards you are actually positive. Okay, they're feeling like maybe they moved through some of the pain that they had in the past. Maybe they moved through some of those old feelings, right? Any negativity that was between you, but they've come out. So remember this Amaterasu, I think is how you say her name. She's I believe, Japanese goddess that was got depressed, went into a cave. Of course, when the sun goddess goes into a cave, then everything on earth starts to die. And so the other gods are trying to get her to come out, and she just wouldn't come out. And then Uzume, another goddess, she was seen as kind of the divine fool, came and started behaving like in very lewd ways. Like she was flashing her boobs and like shaking them and shocking the other gods. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's doing this. And so and then they would laugh because they were like stunned, you know? So imagine being a god and like watching this other goddess like shaking her boobs and like pulling up her skirt and flashing her vagina. And then that was literally what was happening in this tale. And like the gods' laughter and their shock got her attention, and she came out of the cave and like brought, you know, restored life back to earth. So the point here is two things: that they actually are feeling very positive. They were in a cave for quite a while. They went into a dark place for a while, dark night of the soul, but now they're starting to come out. And I feel like part of this is these two are related. Okay, this card didn't come out. I mean, I just went through the deck and pulled it out to show you, but this didn't come out. But this to me is the energy of the Fool is like the energy of the wild woman, totally free. We've got this, Lilith is like the wild woman as well. And so this is an energy right here. And I feel like for those of you that are watching this is how you kind of coming into that space of just being fully authentic and being who you are, not feeling like you need to hide. And I feel like that kind of energy, that your shift in your energy, if you've been doing your work, they feel it. And it's kind of like they want to come back. They want to come out of this dark space because they feel that. Now there's also this intention setting. The question I ask is, what is it that they feel? And they feel some sort of intention towards you. I'm going to pull a card. Like, what is the intention that they're illumination? So this is the Ace of Wands. This is a new beginning and passion. So the intention that they have, really what I'm getting is that there's this sense of illumination. They want things to come to light. They want to be illuminated. They want to have that awakening. There's all of those things that they want. But there's also this new beginning and passion. I'm really getting that for a lot of them, they're really thinking about, like, could they even come back towards you? Could they come back and have like a rebirth, a new beginning of a passionate connection? Maybe not even like a love connection at this point. Maybe it's just like, can we just be friends? Or can we just, I don't know how that would work, but I just get this sense that there's like this new beginning that they're looking at. So, or that they're at least exploring. This is what they're feeling. And not necessarily that they're going to take immediate action on it. This is just what they're feeling. But they do feel like they have a sense of purity. I get the sense really clearly that for a lot of them, if this reading is resonating for you, that they are feeling a sense of purity. Like a lot of that, the pain from the past has burned up, has gone away. And now they're feeling this sense of purity towards you. And they're also feeling this sense of seeing you in a more pure light. They may not have seen you that way in the past. They might have seen you as as the demon, as the enemy. But now it's like their perspective of you has shifted over with time and some healing. So I'm going to pull a card from the Goddess deck. And this is for feminines that are watching, how they're viewing you right now, okay? So I'm going to pull, actually I'm going to move these aside. And I'm going to pull a card. This is, so if you're a feminine watching and you are in, this is how your divine masculine is seeing you, okay? This is how they're seeing you. And then I'm going to pull a card from the Gods and Titans. So if you're a masculine watching, this is how your feminine is seeing you. Oh yeah, change. So if you are feminine watching, your masculine and your counterpart, the one that you've been separated with for a while, sees you as having changed. Okay, this is, I'm looking up in the books. I want to make sure if there's any messages that come through. They see you as you have changed them. Your energy has changed. Interesting. So I'm going to read this to you. It says, in Africa, Oya is the Yoruban goddess of weather, especially tornadoes, lightning, destructive rainstorms, fire, female leadership, persuasive charm, and transformation. She is also one of the most powerful Brazilian Macumba deities. When women find themselves in hard-to-resolve conflict, she is the one to call on for protection. Wearing wine, her favorite color, and exhibiting 9 whirlwinds, 9 being her sacred number, she is depicted here with the turban twisted to appear like buffalo horns. For it is said she assumed the shape of buffalo when wedded to Ogun. So that's how your masculine is seeing you. He's seeing you as like a force for change. He sees you, again, this is coming back to the Madame Pele and the Lilith card, very powerful, lightning, transformational, like you come in like a whirlwind, right? You come in with this very powerful energy, and when you're there, nothing's ever going to be the same, okay? Once they've encountered you. So that's how they see you. And it's like they see you as being a change bringer. They recognize what Spirit is saying is that they recognize that you are a person that will change them. Okay, and that you are also a person who, it's not like you just come in and you're a whirlwind and there's no purpose or anything like that. It's literally like you change them and you change yourself, right? You're very powerful, very capable, and so they see you as really as that powerful energy. So they're seeing you in a very positive light right now. So if you're a masculine watching and your feminine is the one who failed, how is that person seeing you right now? Interesting. Kernunos. Shape-shifting, another change energy. I mean, seriously, guys, how much clearer can it be, right? And this is the Gods and Titans deck by Stacy DeMarco. And this is the Goddess Oracle by Amy Sophia Marashinsky. So, Kernunos, let me go ahead and look that one up for you. I mean, I know what it means, but I want to make sure that there's any special messages that want to come through. Transition and change are flowing through you. Relax and know you have the power to be what you want to be. They see, so yeah, same message, essentially, that they see you also as being a change agent, that you have changed. So your feminine, if you're a masculine watching, has seen you change. They've seen you shape shift the circumstances. They have been watching you, at least energetically, and seeing you take this situation that was, could have been pretty bad. It feels like it might have not been a positive energy, and they've been watching you from a distance, or spiritually, or their higher selves, watching you shape shift the circumstances, watching you take, what could have been horrible and make something beautiful out of it. They've literally watched you take this, ashes and turn it into beauty. And they're like, wow, this is amazing. Like, this person is so much more powerful than I ever gave them credit for. And so that's how they're seeing you. It's very beautiful energies here. So I want to use the Talk to Me Like I'm Someone You Love deck and just get some messages. Like, this is Nancy Dreyfus. And this is basically like, I want to just see what they would say to you, what they want to say to you right now. If they could talk to you, what would they say? Now I have that song in my head by Celine Dion, Ashes. Maybe we come out of ashes. From Deadpool 2. Great song. Look it up if you'd like. So what is it that they would say to you? This has writing on both sides, so I'm just going to close my eyes and put it in front of the camera. And my eyes are closed, so I don't see what's coming out. Okay. You didn't do anything wrong. I know it's my own craziness. Trust me to get through it. Beautiful. Next one. Right now, I'd do anything for you to know how much I love you. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And final message. I know I've been relentless. I can understand why you'd want to get away from me. Maybe they were just pushing too hard. Or maybe they were just, their energy was just too much, And I wasn't going to do this, but I felt led to do this. I felt like there's a message for them in this Lover's Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno. So what does their higher self want you to know? Guess that didn't want to come out after all. So that song Ashes by Celine Dion is from the movie Deadpool 2. And my son asked me to take him to see it. And I didn't look up any of the reviews. I just kind of assumed it was a kid's movie. And we got there and I found out it was rated R. And it was so probably not appropriate for an 11-year-old boy to watch, but it was freaking funny. Okay, come on. Whoa. Okay. One more? Is there one more message? Okay. I'll take it. So the first message that came through. Let there be closeness between you, but always give each other space. Love never claims, it simply allows and gives. Next message. Oh my God, shut the front door. Sexual union. Honor the place in one another where you are one eternal soul, for there you will find true bliss. Finally, time. You're trying too hard. Give it time. So just give it some space. Oh my gosh, you guys, this reading is beautiful. I didn't know what was coming out today. I was just I felt led to do this reading, and I'm so freaking glad that I did, because it's beautiful. These messages are just gorgeous. It's it really feels like there's some genuine shift that has taken place, right? Shift happens. So continue doing your work, right? Continue doing your healing. Do what you need to do. But I definitely feel like a positive energy from your counterpart. So I hope that this reading resonated. Please let me know if you have any questions. Take care. Bye.